Hillary Clinton for president. Oh no, we're not going to do that here. I supported her because I wanted a woman president. I thought she was incredibly qualified. And I thought she was unbeatable. But it's 4 years later. And let me tell you, 4 years ago I listened to Bernie, and I loved what he was saying. And my kids say, hey mom, what about Bernie? What about Bernie? And I said, I love it, but I don't think it can happen. I think he's a resistance candidate, and I love him for what he's doing. Well, let me tell you, 4 years have passed, and the world looks entirely different. And it doesn't just look different because we've lived through 3 years of Donald Trump. I will tell you the main reason that it looks different. It looks different because Bernie Sanders has irrevocably changed the terrain and the conversation of this country. And we can never go back. And we don't want to go back. And I look at those other folks who are trying to be our Democratic nominee, and they place themselves all different places along the spectrum. But I'll tell you, the reason they're even talking about Medicare for all, the reason they're even talking about free college for all, the reason they're even talking about a $15 minimum wage nationally, the reason they're even talking about a Green New Deal is because Bernie has made it impossible for them not to. And what Bernie has shown me and has shown us in the last 4 years is that for too long, for as long as I can remember, we have been making do with crumbs. And we've been told that the crumbs that we're getting, unless we're millionaires or billionaires or the head of corporations, we're told that those crumbs are a meal. Bernie has taught us to say, I'm done with these crumbs. I want the whole pie. And I tell you, I was in Nevada a couple of days ago. The Bernie fever is at a pitch. Here in New Hampshire, tomorrow we are going to show this country and the world what New Hampshire can do and what the United States of America can do. We're going to tell them that the last 3 years, that's not who we are. And in my travels around, sometimes I ask people I don't really know. I say, who are you supporting in the presidential? Sometimes they say that with that kind of fervor. And sometimes they say somebody else. And I say, why? Tell me. And they tell me. And I listen. And then I say to them really quietly, but what about Bernie? And 9 times out of 10, here's what they say to me. They say, "Oh, Bernie, that would be great." And I say to them, then when I ask you, who are you supporting? Why don't you just say Bernie? And they say, well, I think he's great. They sound like me 4 years ago. I think he's great, but I worry about my coworkers. I worry about my in-laws. I worry about fill in the blank. I worry that they're not going to go for him. And I try my best to say to those people without shouting them down, I try to say, listen, don't worry about them. What do you want? Whose America do you want to live in? And once you come out of the closet as a Bernie supporter, once you embrace how you really feel, that coworker and that in-law and that whoever, they're going to look at you and say, yeah, you know what? Me too. And the last thing I want to say is this nonsense that the media keeps telling us about we have to pick somebody in the middle, somebody who everybody will go for. You pick somebody everybody will go for, and I'll tell you who shows up on election day, pretty much nobody. That's the thing about Bernie. We love him, and we want to fight for him, and we want to fight until he's president. And we want to show up, and we want to go that extra mile. You know, did you ever do this? Did you ever think like, I'd like to fall in love. I'd like to meet the one. And you make a list of like what that person might be like. Maybe how tall they are, maybe what ethnicity they are, or what religion, how old they are, what kind of job they have, what gender they are. And you know, it kind of sounds good on paper, and if you could take that paper and make that person materialize, you'd never go for them. When you meet that person that you fall for, that's the thing about them. They're completely unexpected. Because when you meet that person, they defy your expectations, but your heart opens and your mind opens, and you see the path, your life with them ahead of you. That's what happened for me when I met my wife. And that is what is happening to America right now with Bernie Sanders. Because people don't turn out in droves for somebody who checks a lot of boxes. People show up in droves for someone they are passionate about. And that's why we are going to win not only the nomination, that's why we're going to win in November. Because all the horror and the white supremacy and the xenophobia and the homophobia and you name it, all the horror that is Donald Trump, he is a formidable foe. We must not underestimate him. And we don't need just another politician. We need a hero, and that is Bernie Sanders. So New Hampshire,
fellow citizen, our neo-fascist gangster from the White House, now in Manchester, he's got to go! You got to go! You got to go! But let us be clear, you don't say that in the spirit of hatred of a person. We hate injustice. We hate exploitation. We hate oppression. We hate domination. We hate contempt. We hate arrogance. We hate condescension. A neo-fascist believes that the rule of big military and big money, dividing people up by their color, by their class, by their sex orientation, by their religion or non-religion, to ensure we at each other's throats rather than confronting the elites at the top. My brother Bernie Sanders said no. And I come from a people, a black people, who have been hated chronically for 400 years and taught the world so much about love. That's my truth. John Coltrane's Love Supreme. That's Stevie Wonder's Love and Anita Love. That's Nina Simone, Mississippi, goddamn. Justice is what love looks like in public, just like tenderness is what love feels like in private. And we gonna stay in solidarity together. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your national identity is. I don't care what region you are. You a human being. We got a deep Jewish brother named Bernie Sanders who's bringing us together. And it's a human thing. Do you feel it, New Hampshire? Do you feel it in your guts? Do you feel it in your soul? Do you want a better America? So we're going to keep alive the rich legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker and Dorsey Day, our vanilla sister on the Catholic side of town. And Cesar Chavez. And let us never forget our indigenous peoples. And Grace Bogg and Harvey Milk. That's the best of America. That's the best of America. And let us be very clear. We're living at a moment where the very future of a democracy is at stake. So this is no ordinary campaign. This is a movement that has a spiritual, and for me as a Christian brother, a spiritual and moral coming together. Strong coming together. It's part of the genius of Hebrew scripture. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're Buddhist, Hindu. It says the spreading of Hesed, the spreading of that steadfast love to the orphan, the widow, the fatherless, the motherless, the oppressed, the occupied, the dominated. It's rooted in the best of America, but it looks to the world and it says a precious baby in Ethiopia, in Guatemala. It could be in Tel Aviv or Gaza. It could be in Argentina. It could be in New Hampshire. They all have the same value. They all have the same significance. That's a moral and a spiritual dimension. And I thank God my dear brother Bernie Sanders has got the integrity, the courage, the vision to bring us together and say, not a milquetoast neoliberal running against the gangster. We got to have moral and spiritual power behind our movement. Are we going to stay together? Are we going to fight together? Are we going to go all the way together behind
UNH Durham, she needs no introduction. She is the one, she is the only, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
What's good, New Hampshire? Oh my God, are you all ready for a political revolution in New Hampshire tomorrow? That's what I'm talking about. I am so excited to see all of us out here today. Let's hear it for every single person who came up on this stage just now. Senator Nina Turner, Dr. Cornell West, Cynthia Nixon, Sunflower Bean for sharing their skills and their talents. Funny story about Sunflower Bean, actually. Their lead singer, Julia Cummings, she's from New York City, as I am. And way back before I won my primary, like months before, there was a public forum that was coming on, and Julia Cummings, lead singer of Sunflower Bean, invited me to come speak, and it was like my first ever real public appearance. And so tonight's a real full circle moment, and she gave me space then, and I'm so excited that she's on, and Sunflower Bean's on the stage tonight. So let's give her a round of applause. And let's talk about this moment. I want us to talk about this moment here tonight on the eve of the New Hampshire primary. Because this is a very important moment that we have tonight in our democracy. Because we have a choice to make. And it is important for us to realize that choice tomorrow. And to do everything that we can to expand the electorate and transform our democracy to center everyday people, fight for healthcare as a right, fight for a living wage, fight to end mass incarceration, fight to break up ICE and CBP. It's gonna take you to do it. It's gonna take mass movement politics to do it. That's the theory of change. That's what political revolution is all about. I want to talk a little bit about why Bernie. Because Bernie has not committed to what is right when it was popular. Senator Bernie Sanders has spent his entire life fighting for the right thing when it was unpopular. And I'll tell you now that I'm in Washington, D.C., and we've been there for a year, I can tell you that's not easy to do. It is the hardest thing to stand up to the establishment of big pharma, to big oil and gas, to stand up to bigotry. Because as we know, what we've seen is that you can galvanize people pretty easily around hate. It is hard to stand up and fight for someone you don't know when it's not the popular thing to do, and he has done it his whole damn life. His whole life. And that's not just a testament to who Senator Sanders is. It's not just a testament to who he is. It's a testament to the strength that is needed and necessary in the White House to get an agenda done for working people. About 3 or 4 years ago now, I was an activist and I had found myself at Standing Rock, fighting against, standing in
support of our Native brothers and sisters, honoring and centering Indigenous wisdom in our energy policy and environmental policy, and I remember how hard it was for people to speak out in that time. Because we had a Democratic administration. And you're not supposed to talk about what's wrong when the political establishment has congealed sometimes in that way. You're not supposed to talk about that. In that time, thousands of Americans went out to Standing Rock, to Ocheti, to center and say, listen to our Native brothers and sisters. Listen to them. We listen to them. When that fracking pipeline was going through an affluent white community, they stood up and said, not in our backyard. So what happened? That pipeline went to a native, through a native community. And so they started to galvanize, and they let out that call. And thousands of everyday Americans heeded that call to center our community. You know who showed up? Senator Sanders. You know who else showed up? Almost no one. When we look at what happened in that debate stage, who brings up Palestine? Senator Bernie Sanders. When we talk, let's go back further. Let's go back further, because now people think that progressive ideals are in vogue. Who put them in vogue? Which campaign made a living wage and centered that? Which candidate in this race never took corporate PAC money ever in their life? Senator Bernie Sanders. Who was one of the first major presidential candidates to ever campaign on Medicare for all, healthcare as a right in the United States? Senator Bernie Sanders. Let's go back further. Who stood up for women and gender nonconforming people's right to choose in the 90s when it was unpopular? Senator Bernie Sanders. Who was standing up and saying that we should center and that we should lift up our queer brothers and sisters when people were passing the DOMA, Defense of Marriage Act? Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator Bernie Sanders. Fast forward this campaign, who is the only candidate to call to break up ICE and CBP? Senator Bernie Sanders. That matters. All of this matters. And when it comes to politics, you get what you pay for. And when you have candidates bankrolled by billionaires, who are they going to work for? Who do you think they're going to work for? When you have candidates that only take contributions from and by the people, who have only ever taken contributions by the people, who do they work for? Who does that person work for? The people. This matters. This primary, these elections, they matter. Because in November, when we kick out Donald Trump from the White House, we're either going to go back to how things were, or we're going to move forward to establish a 21st century advanced society that guarantees economic, social, and human rights for all people. in our democracy. We're at a key crossroads, and we cannot underestimate the power of hate. We cannot underestimate the power of that divisiveness and the centering and the vitriol and all of that. We cannot underestimate that. And that is why we need to nominate someone with a political revolution at their back, with decades of organizing bringing us to this moment. It is not going to be any one candidate that defeats Donald Trump. It's going to be a movement of Americans that defeat Donald Trump in rejection of hatred and embracing of love. There's a lot of centering here, and there's a lot of accommodating. People worry about voters that perhaps have never experienced or been touched by someone with an immigration crisis, whose family has not been separated, whose family perhaps has never been unjustly incarcerated, people who have never struggled to afford their health care in the United States, people that have never struggled to make ends meet. There's a lot of worrying about how we win over those people. My plea to you, first of all, I don't know too many people that have never been touched by one of these issues, but if you are blessed enough, my ask is to fight for someone you don't know, fight for someone who has struggled for health care, vote for someone who is an immigrant, vote for someone who has been unjustly incarcerated, vote for the least amongst us. There are two paths we can take. One is a nomination that brings us back to business as usual, but business as usual was not working for working people. It was not. Or we can choose to move forward. And as someone who has been told to go back, I'm gonna tell you, we're moving forward. Forward to a multiracial democracy, forward to guaranteed health care, forward to a living wage, forward to fighting for our neighbors, forward for indigenous rights and honoring sovereignty, forward, forward, forward. That's where we're gonna go. We're not going back to the days where people had to hide. We're not going back to the days where people have to worry. We're not going back. We are going forward. And with that, I am so excited to bring you the candidate that will get us there. Senator Bernard Sanders.
Thank you. Thank you, Durham. In case you haven't noticed, there are a lot of people here tonight. In fact, there are 3 times more people here tonight than at any other Democratic rally in New Hampshire.
Let me take this opportunity to introduce to you the next First Lady of the United States of America, AOC. Let me introduce my daughter, Karina, coming all the way across the Connecticut River for Burlington. This is my grandson, Cole. My grandson, Dylan. My son, Dave. His wife, Liza. His daughter, Ella. And my granddaughter, Tessie. Those are some of the family. We got more who are not here. And let me take the opportunity to thank all those who have spoken. Andrew Valinsky, your next governor. Senator Nina Turner. Representative Rennie Cushing. Wendy Messner. Cynthia Nixon, Dr. Cornel West, and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Brothers and sisters, this turnout tells me why we're going to win here in New Hampshire, why we're going to win the Democratic nomination, and why we are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of America, Donald Trump. And we are going to win this election because we have an unprecedented, multi-generational, multi-racial grassroots movement of millions of people. The reason that we won the popular vote in Iowa by 6,000 votes is because we had thousands of volunteers knocking on doors, and the reason we're going to win here in New Hampshire is because we have thousands of volunteers knocking on doors, making phone calls. And the reason that we are going to win is the American people, no matter what their political views may be, are sick and tired of a president who is a pathological liar, who is running a corrupt administration, who is a bully and a vindictive person, who is a racist, a sexist, a xenophobe, a homophobe, and a religious bigot. And those are his nice qualities. But whatever one's political view may be, the American people understand that that is not the kind of human being who should be in the White House. And we intend to make him a one-term president. Donald Trump hopes to win re-election by dividing our people up based on the color of their skin, where they were born, their sexual orientation, their gender, or their religion. It won't work because we are going to do is we are going to do exactly the opposite. We're going to bring our people together. Black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American, gay and straight, we're coming together. We're coming together in the strongest grassroots movement in the history of American politics. And we are coming together around an agenda that works for all of us, not just the 1%. Now, Trump is not only a liar, but he's a fraud. He promised the working people of this country during his campaign that he would guarantee health care to all people, and then he tried to throw 32 million off the health care they have. He promised, and you know his word is like gold, he promised he would not cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, but in his budgets, he made massive cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. He promised the American people that his tax plan would not benefit his billionaire friends. I know I will shock you when I tell you that he lied about that too. 83% of the benefits of his tax plan go to the top 1%. Donald Trump tells us every day how much we're supposed to hate and fear the undocumented. But as a businessman, he hired hundreds of undocumented workers to work in his resorts so that he could exploit them. Donald Trump, the fraud, told us that we should worry about the outsourcing of good-paying American jobs, but as a businessman, he manufactured his products in Mexico, in China, in Turkey, and in other low-wage countries. We are going to defeat Donald Trump because our agenda speaks to the pain of the working families of this country. The working people of this country know there is something profoundly wrong when in America today we have more income and wealth inequality than in any time over the last 100 years. Working families know there is something immoral and obscene about 3 people in America owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. That there is something profoundly wrong when 500,000 people are sleeping out on the streets tonight, that the top 1% own more wealth than the bottom 92%. The American people understand there is something profoundly wrong and unjust when half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, yet 49% of all new income goes to the top 1%. The American people know there is something profoundly wrong when the average worker in America has an effective tax rate that is higher than billionaires and large multinational corporations like Amazon last year did not pay a nickel in federal income taxes. So what this campaign is about is saying to the greed and corruption of corporate America, guess what? You're going to start paying your fair share of taxes. And what this campaign is about is ending a corrupt political system in which billionaires buy elections. Here in New England, we believe in democracy, one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. And together we're going to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And we're going to move to public funding of elections. No more billionaires buying elections. In the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we're going to end the absurdity of millions of our people working at starvation wages. You can't make it on 9, 10, 11 bucks an hour. We're going to raise the federal minimum wage to 11 to $15 an hour. And in America, we're not going to continue the absurdity of women making 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. Equal pay for equal work. And when millions of workers want to join unions, we're going to make it easier for workers to join unions. And our administration together, we're going to change national priorities in this country, and we're going to put at the top of the list education. We are going to have quality, universal, affordable child care for every family in America. We are going to triple funding for low-income Title I schools. And because we love our children and we appreciate education, we appreciate our educators. And that means that no teacher in America should earn less than $60,000 a year. And I hope that many of you will give serious thought to becoming teachers. We need great teachers in America. And when we talk about education, we want a situation where every kid in the 5th grade or the 6th grade understands that if he or she does their schoolwork well, they will have the opportunity for a higher education regardless of the income of their families. In the year 2020, we have got to rethink what public education in America means, and to my mind, it means making public colleges and universities tuition free. And I'm happy to tell you that that movement is already taking place in states and cities and counties. When we are in the White House, it will take place in every state in this country. 11 years ago, against my vote, the U.S. Congress voted to bail out the crooks on Wall Street who nearly destroyed our economy. 2 years ago, Trump and his friends gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and large profitable corporations. Well, if the Congress of the United States could bail out crooks on Wall Street and give tax breaks to billionaires, we can cancel all student debt in America. And we do that, we pay for that through a modest tax on Wall Street speculation. The American people bailed Wall Street out. It's time for Wall Street to help the working class of this country. People die each and every year because they're uninsured and they don't get to a doctor on time. We pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs because of the greed and corruption of the pharmaceutical industry. And some 500,000 people a year go bankrupt because of medically related debt. Meanwhile, the healthcare industry last year, the drug companies and the insurance companies made $100 billion in profit. So today we say loudly and clearly, the function of a rational and humane healthcare system is to guarantee healthcare to all, not to make billions in profit for the drug companies and the insurance companies. Now let me, we all know that Trump has been a disaster in so many respects for our country, but let me tell you what he is doing, in fact, to the entire world. Donald Trump almost uniquely believes that climate change is a hoax. And when you believe that climate change is a hoax, what you are doing is turning your backs on our kids, our grandchildren, and future generations. Now let me tell you a radical proposition. You ready for a radical proposition? Our administration will believe in science. And what the scientists are telling us, as all of you know, is not just that climate change is, of course, real, that it's caused by human activity and that is already causing terrible problems in America and around the world. What they are now telling us is they have underestimated the speed and degree to which climate change is ravaging the planet. They underestimated the degree to which the polar ice caps are melting and the oceans are warming, the degree to which drought is becoming worse and worse, more and more extreme weather disturbances, more acidification of the ocean. What the United Nations tells us, if we don't get our act together by the end of the century, there will be hundreds of millions of climate refugees, people forced to leave their own communities because they don't have clean drinking water or land to grow their crops. Anybody who doubts what climate change is about, turn on the TV and look at what's going on in Australia. Look at what went on in California in the terrible wildfires that took place there. That is the future not only of our country, but of the world, unless we get our act together. And I'm proud to tell you that our campaign has introduced the most comprehensive climate change proposal ever introduced. It is a proposal based on the blueprint of the Green New Deal. A proposal which will create up to 20 million good-paying jobs as we transform our energy system away from fossil fuels to energy efficiency and sustainable energies. Together, we have a message to the fossil fuel industry, and that is that your short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. But as all of you know, climate change is not just an American issue, it is obviously a global issue. And my promise to you is that I will do everything I can to lead the world, to reach out to the people in China, in Russia, in India, Pakistan, Brazil, countries all over the world, and make the case that we are all in this together as a planet, and that maybe, just maybe, instead of spending $1.8 trillion a year on weapons of destruction, maybe we should pool our resources and fight our common enemy, which is climate change. We talk about an agenda that is meaningful to our country. It must mean that we end our racist and broken criminal justice system. It is not acceptable to me that we have more people in jail tonight than any other country on earth, including China. Disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native American. What we are going to do is invest in our young people so they get good education and good jobs. We're going to invest in our young people, not in more jails and incarceration. Tonight in America, 400,000 people are behind bars without having been convicted of anything. They were arrested but not convicted. They are in jail because they cannot afford cash bail. We're going to end the cash bail system. We are going to end private prisons and detention centers. Corporations should not be making profits imprisoning fellow Americans. And together we are going to end the so-called war on drugs. We are going to legalize marijuana in every state in this country. And we are going to expunge the records of those arrested for possession of marijuana. And when marijuana is legal all across this country, we're not going to let a handful of corporations dominate the industry. We are going to give support to those communities, the African American community, the Latino community, the Native American community. Help them start businesses to profit off of the legalization of marijuana. And when we talk about broken systems, unjust systems, we are going to end the demonization of the undocumented in this country. On day one, we will restore the legal status of the 1.8 million young people eligible for the DACA program. Under our administration, federal agents will never snatch babies away from the arms of their mothers. And we will pass, with bipartisan support, a comprehensive immigration plan that moves people toward citizenship. And at a time when the American people are disgusted and horrified by the amount of gun violence in this country, our gun safety legislation will be determined by the American people, not the NRA. And that means there will be universal background checks. People who are violent past should not own guns. It means we do away with the gun show loophole and the straw man provision. And it means we do what a strong majority of Americans want us to do: ban the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. Now, I am a United States Senator from that distant state of Vermont. And I am on the floor of the Senate often listening to speeches from my colleagues. And at a time of mass hypocrisy, one of the worst examples of that is when we have conservative Republicans come to the floor of the Senate and they say, hey, we believe in small governments. We believe in getting government off the backs of the American people. Well, I say to those hypocrites, if you believe in getting the government off the backs of the American people, understand that it is women who must control their own bodies, not the government. promise to you all is that I will never nominate anyone to the Supreme Court or the federal bench who is not 100% pro Roe v. Wade. We will codify, make into law Roe v. Wade. And we will greatly expand funding for Planned Parenthood. It is women who must be able to control their own bodies, not government. End of discussion. So here we are tonight in Durham, one day before the first primary in this country. And the truth is, not only is the whole country looking at New Hampshire, in fact, the entire world is looking at New Hampshire. So what you do tomorrow is of international consequence. So I am asking you tonight to come out and vote tomorrow. I am asking you to bring your friends and your co-workers and your fellow students and your parents and anybody else you can get your hands on. And what I'm asking you to do is to begin a political revolution which does two things. Number one, it defeats the most dangerous president in modern American history. But it does something more than that. What it does is begin the movement to create an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. We are a movement and will be an administration that stands up to Wall Street and their greed, stands up to the insurance companies and the drug companies and the fossil fuel industry, stands up to the military-industrial complex and their endless wars, stands up to the prison industrial complex, and stands up to the whole damn 1%. Now, at the end of the day, the 1% and the corporate establishment and the media establishment and the political establishment are very, very powerful. I know these guys, they have endless amounts of money and enormous power. But at the end of the day, if we do not allow Trump and his friends to divide us up by the color of our skin or our sexual orientation or where we were born, if we are prepared to stand together for economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice, if we are prepared to stand together, last that I heard, the 1% may be very powerful, but there are a hell of a lot more people in the 99% than in the 1%. So, tomorrow is an historically important day. Let us go forward. Let us have the largest voter turnout in the history of the New Hampshire primary. Let's win this thing. Let's transform America. Thank you. deal of pleasure to introduce for the first time in New Hampshire, the Strokes.
One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, Jamal's not drunk. We just moved the camera like 10 rows. Come on over here. Hey, what'd you think of the rally? It seemed energy like nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm from Pennsylvania. Actually came up with a friend, somebody I never met before from Virginia.
What do you think's at stake on the night of the primary New Hampshire?
Once we saw Iowa, we came up for here. So, yeah.
So you came from Iowa to New Hampshire?
I came from Pennsylvania, but once we saw the shenanigans in Iowa, that made us come up here to make sure that it's in the bag, you know?
It doesn't even seem like they're being subtle in trying to rig it. I mean, the Iowa was so blatant. If Bernie wins here, what do you think that does as far as setting him up for Nevada and other victories?
Well, the polls showed that Warren was kind of teetering, so I think if Klobuchar takes Warren, then I think we'll be pretty set for Nevada. But I'm going to South Carolina then, so yeah, I'll make sure.
You're a full burner.
Yeah. Since 2016.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hey,
Watch your show, so.
thank you. Hey, can they hear me? Can they hear me? Oh. So there's a rock concert going on. The Strokes. But we're gonna keep going anyway. So, wanna come on? Say hi. Come here. What'd you think of the rally? A lot of energy.
Yeah, Bernie was awesome.
What's at stake? Obviously, a lot of people, they pulled some shenanigans in Iowa. What's at stake here? How important is it to win New Hampshire?
Like, extremely important. We need health care. We need to legalize marijuana. We need to public funding for education and cancel college debt. And Bernie's going to do all that.
Thank you. So now we're in the dark, baby. We're in the dark. What? We're in the dark, but we're going to keep going. The energy here is like, I've been to a lot of political events. This energy is really something else. I haven't seen energy like this since 2016, honestly, at Bernie rallies. A few Trump rallies, but a much different energy. How's it going? So, the band The Stroke is playing, but there's still a lot of people walking out. I thought Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's speech was really something else. Really made the case for how Bernie Sanders has been consistent when these policies were laughed about. I'm not just talking about 4 years ago. I'm talking about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when he was a lonely, lonely congressman alone on an island. So I thought she was great. There's a lot of young people here tonight, a lot of young people. Obviously, some of that is about the Strokes concert, but there's a lot of people here specifically for Bernie, which you like to see. Let's see if you can see me. Hold on. So, yeah, I might lose my voice, but that's okay. And remember, do you see anybody else doing this kind of reporting? I don't. Sign up. We're at 1,260. 1,260 Status Coup members. We need to get more members. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Sign up for as low as $5 a month. Makes a huge, huge difference. We booked our flight today to go to Nevada. So we're not stopping in New Hampshire. We're going to Nevada next for the caucus. We hope to have enough funding to go to South Carolina. So definitely, if you can, all it takes is $5 to $10 a month. Sign up. So, woo! All right, we can hear you. Let me see if some people are doing an interview. Oh. Anybody want to come live? Hey, what'd you think of the rally? A lot of energy.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I loved everything he said.
With all the Iowa, I call it fuckery, what's at stake here for Bernie to win? How important is it for him to win New Hampshire specifically?
It's vital. You have to show the establishment what we're doing here. After Iowa, they tried to get after us, but we have to go back in there and really show out strong for him and show them just what this movement is about.
How does this compare to 2016? By my count, it looks like this is a packed arena, like at least 10,000 people. Is this energy even greater than 2016?
Oh, it's much greater. I feel like ever since 2016, the loss has really just been compounded and multiplied, and just much better energy this year than anything else.
And for you, what's personally at stake? Why Bernie for you?
Well, my mother is a diabetic, and it's always, the cost of insulin is so high. So Medicare for All is a very important issue for me. And
did you like when Cynthia Nixon said, "Enough crumbs, it's time to get the whole damn pie"?
I thought that was very insightful and very nice, yeah.
What's your name?
Max.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Yeah. So, the difference between the Buttigieg people, the Pete Buttigieg people I met, which, by the way, it's a strange, strange world. Fox News of all places, just published a piece on Jamal and I being harassed at the Pete Buttigieg rally. Very, very strange world. So go check that out. Jen will put it in the super chat. Fox News of all outlets just wrote what I thought was a pretty fair piece about Jamal and I being monitored, harassed at the Pete Buttigieg rally. They still haven't responded to my request for comment, just for an apology. Hey, can I ask you, how'd you like the event? We're live.
Yeah. Who do you work for?
Status Coup, we're on YouTube, progressive outlet.
Oh, okay.
Really, a crazy amount of energy all the way around.
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved Cornell West. I love them all. I love Cornell West. AOC was incredible. So much energy. Cynthia Nixon, they all did great, and Bernie was incredible. Yeah, I thought the event had amazing energy.
And when you look at what just happened in Iowa with the shenanigans that went on there, how much is at stake here in New Hampshire for the progressive movement to say to the establishment, you could try to rig it all you want, but you're not going to get away with it?
I think a lot is at stake. Iowa was very unfortunate and disconcerting. I think it's very encouraging that he got 6,000 more votes, so I think the movement is there. We just need tomorrow to go very well, and it will solidify the momentum that we have.
And for you, what's personally at stake? Why do you support Bernie?
I support him because how he wants to end our endless wars. Oh, his thing fell. Ending endless war, dismantling the military-industrial complex, his support for Medicare for All, the Green New Deal, climate, for women. I love that he has really strong women backing his campaign. And yeah, that's just the mass incarceration. But climate, war, Medicare for all, those are big for me.
Do you think he's the best person to go up against Trump?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he has the most momentum in the country. I think he can beat Trump.
What's your name?
Sorry?
What's your name?
My name? Jenna.
Thank you, Jenna. Appreciate it. Thanks. So, I've never reported during a rock concert. This is really something. I'm going to lose my voice, but that's okay. Let's see how many people we have watching. All right. Woo! Keep the super chats coming if you can. By the way, come on over here. Come on over here. We're live. How you doing?
How are you?
Hey. Hey, nice to meet you, Jordan. What'd you guys think of the event? A lot of energy.
So much energy. It's very contagious. Loved it. Love him. Love the whole thing.
And you know, we saw what happened in Iowa with all the shenanigans in Iowa. What is at stake here? How important is it to win this primary?
It's really important. We're in the fight of our lives right now. So
it's extremely important. We've got to silence the myth that Bernie is not electable. And we've got to show the Democratic Party that they are damn well better get behind him if they do not want to lose this election.
And it seems like the establishment right now is very, very, very starting to go towards Michael Bloomberg of all people. What do you think about this guy he spent $300 million already on television? He seems like he's trying to buy an election.
it doesn't seem like it. He is buying an election. Shouldn't be allowed.
Bloomberg epitomizes the politic that is exactly the antithesis of Bernie Sanders and of democracy itself. We don't want billionaires to buy our elections. That is not democracy.
And what do you tell other people that are a little bit older that say, well, change only comes in little bite-sized crumbs, and you know, we're not able to do big things. You have to do things gradually and compromise and all these things. What do you tell people? Because it's, you know, we have a lot of older viewers, but a lot of older viewers tend to go towards these more corporate establishment candidates.
We've had crumbs. We've had moderation. We are in the predicament that we're in right now because we haven't taken bold steps that we needed to take.
God bless. And why is Bernie?
I want to say something about that. When you have a society that has deteriorated to the point that ours has, it is like an illness. When you have a serious illness, you do not take small steps. You take the big steps. You take the vaccine. You do the surgery, because the small steps are not going to make it. And as I say, the middle road is a dead end.
God bless you two ladies. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, wisdom. Nothing better than wisdom. There's some, there you go, progressive women. They know their stuff. Come on over here. Whoa! Look at that. What's your name?
Denise.
This was a whole new type of energy tonight. Like, I haven't seen this since 2016. What'd you think? What were the highlights for you? AOC, Cynthia Nixon?
I just had a Caesar.
All right.
I'm not doing too good, but
Hi, Jordan.
Good.
Nice to see you, man.
You too. What was the highlight for you? Because there was great speakers.
You know what? I have been to a few Bernie rallies. Never saw Dr. Cornel West before. He always brings the fire. He's incredible to get the crowd riled up. So, I mean, it was all great, but that was like icing on the cake.
There's a lot of people, a lot of progressives that are very, very nervous. I mean, what they did in Iowa The mafia doesn't even do it that obviously. What are your thoughts on, obviously they were trying to basically declare Pete the victor without any results.
Right.
They gave him a huge bump. We have no idea what the real numbers are. Does that worry you for tomorrow and beyond?
You know what? Following in 2016, and we didn't have independent media like you and Tim Black and all the rest, we wouldn't have known because they did the same shit in 2016. So after Iowa, it's a complete coup. Almost, I mean, following your work and just having eyes, just open up your eyes. You see that it's happening right in front of us, you know? And Mayor Pete, it doesn't seem that believable. You know, I mean, Cinderella story, but he has no path. You can just tell it's a complete media-created hype. I mean, and there's no reason not to be worried. They have learned nothing from 2016, and from what we hear, they're pulling the same shit again. A new iPad app, right? Like, how about no app after the fuck up last time, guys? How about no app, right? Like, what optics is that?
I don't know if you saw, but Chris Matthews on MSNBC, he said that he's worried if Bernie becomes president, with socialism, people might get assassinated in Central Park. I don't know if you heard this, but it seems like the hysteria is already coming.
Well, if it's not that, then it's going to be something else tomorrow. There's a swarm of social media bringing back the heart attack like it happened in October. That's when he spiked in the polls. So why bring up the same stuff over and over and over again? The smears are lacking creativity, and I see a Bernie momentum, and the only thing stopping it is the Democratic Party.
Thank you so much. Hey, I want you to show that shirt. We got it right here. That is Coup in the house, baby. Thank you so much. No problem. No problem. So, hold on. Wow. So, we got 1,600 people watching. 1,600. I need every one of you to press that like button. Smash that like button. It's a thumbs up button right under the video. Share this all over the place. We're going to speak with more people. This is a super chat. Let me tell you something. We're tired. I drove 4.5 hours today between two events. So please, leave some love in the super chat and sign up. We are 40 members from 1,300. So we need 40 more of you to sign up. statuscoup.com/join. Sign up as a member for as low as $5 a month. Come here. Wow, you got me on right now. Come here. What's your name?
My name's Craig.
And you were watching Status Coup.
Yeah, I saw that you were on when I was downstairs, so I decided to come find you.
What'd you think? I thought that was one of the most energetic Bernie events I've ever been to.
I thought it was absolutely amazing myself. I need to give it thumbs up. Yep.
With what's been going on in Iowa and all this fuckery, I call it, what's at stake here? Obviously he's up in the polls, but how important do you think it is to make a statement tomorrow?
I think the statements, that's a good point, because with the debacle in Iowa, he still has his base, but he needs to, with the way that the mainstream media and the DNC, gave us the image of Pete, or gave Americans the image of Pete, Bernie needs to make sure that with the win in New Hampshire, that he can throw that electability all aside and the hollow rhetoric that the mainstream media has been throwing up with Pete that's being, funded, and winning New Hampshire is going to galvanize, people, kind of like in what actually Cynthia Nixon said, with convincing people who are cautious or nervous, be like, don't be nervous about Bernie. This is not his revolution, it is our revolution. And
it's just starting to be reported now, but Pete Buttigieg's campaign gave a lot of money to a lot of different Nevada politicians and Nevada groups. So it seems like Buttigieg's campaign has basically been throwing money to different politicians, super PACs, that kind of stuff, to basically endear themselves to the Nevada political establishment. Why would you do that unless you don't want a little help?
Oh yeah, this is a clear sign that they're planning ahead. This is not even just them using the excuse of, oh, it was a crazy emergency. We had to do what we had to do. No, they're plotting this out because they're going, oh, whatever comes up, we're going to have to be able to rig it and then give the facade, the cover up.
What's personally at stake for you? Why would Bernie become president? How would it affect your life?
Well, I could give helping to pay off my medical debt and my student debt, but primarily what's at stake for me is that Bernie and Cornell talked about it, AOC talked about it too. Bernie's campaign is about helping all of us and making a society that is about improvement, whether you're in jail, whether you're starting a business. It's not just about being superior, it's about improving, and that makes me feel proud to be an American.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Thanks for your support.
Make sure to hit like.
Wow, this is surreal. Hold on. Hey, tell me what we're at with the Live View battery. So, by the way, I am so sweaty and schwitzing, you have no idea. Pretty damn hot in here. Hold on.
30 minutes, so bye.
All right. So, let's see what we're at. All right. Keep signing up, statuscoup.com/join. Thank you for the super chats. Keep it coming. So, okay. So, what was really, really important, and I reported this earlier, Bernie, you want to come on? Okay. Come on over here. I could hear you. So, what's really amazing to me, Cynthia Nixon, I thought was interesting because she supported Hillary because she thought she was quote unquote the most electable. Cynthia Nixon thought Hillary was the most electable, and she's kind of seen the light 4 years later. Do you think there's room for more people who have bought into this electability argument to see this movement and realize this is what's electable?
I think the idea of electability is BS, honestly. I was all for Bernie in 2016, and we saw where electability got us.
Right.
So.
Because it seems like the media has kind of programmed people to think like somebody calling for universal health care, universal education, these things is like toxic. But if you go through those states, a lot of people want that all over the country, not just like in New Hampshire.
The idea of socialism is a bad thing.
Right. And I think...
This isn't red communism that we have to be scared of, right? We all deserve these things.
And I think Bernie has talked about, we already have socialism, it's just Trump, corporate socialism. I think he's like twisted that around to say we have socialism. I mean, it's just corporate welfare and welfare for the plutocrats, and I think that's a good argument going into a general election.
Yeah, I agree.
What's at stake for you if he were to win?
Well, I've got 4 wonderful kids, and we're busting ass to make ends meet all the time. So I love his message. I love equality. I've got amazing friends that are fighting to be in this country, and they're fighting a really hard battle. So.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, woo! You see this sweat? Come over. Oh, let's see the shirt.
Hell yeah, dude.
What'd you think tonight? Because
it was amazing, man.
What was interesting, because Bernie really spent a lot of time on Trump. Bernie spent a lot of time on Trump, which he doesn't normally do.
Yeah.
Do you think he was doing that to kind of show, the polls are showing him taking the lead nationally? So did you like that he was focusing so much on Trump's fraudulence?
I enjoyed that he focused a lot on Trump. You want to come in? I enjoyed that he focused a lot on Trump, but this is a college town, man. Anything to really get the crowd fired up is awesome.
With the fuckery that went on in Iowa, obviously the media, the elites are they're not being subtle. They're trying to deprive him of a clean victory. How important is it to win here?
He's got to play like he's 10 points down, man. That's why he's hyping up the crowd right now. It's so important to win big here because we need to make it guaranteed that even if they do use some kind of fuckery, he'll still win by a good margin.
Why Bernie for you? How would he help your life, your family?
Everything, man. I'm 28 years old, so, the Green New Deal, dude, it's so imperative that we get this Green New Deal passed. Medicare for all is huge. I want Social Security to be there when I'm ready to retire, you know what I mean? Everything. Everything that he stands for, I stand for.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, man. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. So you see the energy. You see the energy. A lot of people here. A lot of people here. And what's really interesting, in Iowa, there was a lot of people that came in from other states. You're still seeing people coming in from other states to knock on doors. And you're going to see that throughout the campaign. People coming in from other states to keep knocking on doors. I spoke with one girl before we went live. We recorded the interview. She's from Massachusetts. She's been coming in since October, every weekend, to knock on doors for Bernie in New Hampshire. She's been coming in since October to knock on doors for Bernie here in New Hampshire. So it's not just people doing it now. Want to come on? It's not just people doing it the week after Iowa. People have been coming and knocking on doors for weeks, for months here. So let's see. Film the crowd surfers. Hold on. Yeah, we got okay. And it is awesome. We're meeting a lot of status Coup fans, which shows you we're growing. It shows you we're growing. It shows you we're growing, which is awesome. Very awesome. So keep on, help us grow. Statuscoup.com/join. Sign up as a member for as low as $5 a month. $5 a month. You could support this kind of reporting. It makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Want to come on live? Say hello. Don't be shy. Come here. I've never reported during a rock concert, so this is a lot of fun. Was this your first Bernie event or your event? Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think? It was a lot of energy here.
Yeah, there was a lot of energy. Yeah.
Impressed? Not impressed? You seem tentative.
It was exactly what I expected it to be, basically. I mean, I definitely think it's interesting that it's a rock concert after. Yeah. I mean, I really think it speaks to the Bernie brand, kind of.
Basically that energy of kind of like galvanizing the youth.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but I mean, it's like, I was down there for a little bit, and you could smell the weed, so I mean,
It's just a plant.
What?
It's just a plant.
What?
Weed, it's just a plant.
Yeah. So, yeah, I it was a good time with my friends, basically. Yeah.
So do you think Bernie's policy is a little too far for you, or you're still?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, so I don't know. Can he? Yeah. So I feel like he's put the Democratic Party in a really odd position now, because I sort of like Elizabeth Warren, but even her policies are kind of like she could get it done, but even in my heart, I don't know if I agree with them sometimes.
Why do you not agree with them? Because it seems like the media has fed a lot of people that these things can't happen, but if you look through American history, most significant change has not happened kind of like incrementally. It's been through movements.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. But yeah.
What's your name?
I'm David.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Come on live.
Yeah, my God.
We're live. What's your name?
Crazy. Rob Hardy.
What's your name?
Caitlin.
I've covered a lot of Bernie events. The energy here was much different. It was like not just a concert, but like it's like Woodstock, you know what I mean? How'd you feel during this whole thing?
I completely agree. So we got here hours early to start standing in line. And really that outside area before the concert started was the exact same way. There's people playing games on their phones, hanging out, chatting with people they hadn't talked to before, pulling out their burn app and canvassing. So as much as it was the political revolution, it really did feel like, you know, all that camaraderie that you were just mentioning.
What about you? What stood out to you about this event?
I don't know. I got to see AOC, who I really like, and also Bernie. I saw him twice already, but I don't know. It was a lot of people. Like, we had to wait in line, and the energy was just insane. Yeah.
And we see what's going on with the Iowa caucuses, the fuckery. Bernie's up in the polls, but you can't take anything for granted. How important is it to win here to kind of make a statement if you're the progressive movement?
I think it's essential. I think this is the moment that we really get to solidify the narrative that, you know, Bernie is the unifier that we all see. He's the person that's going to bring us together. He's the person that's going to beat Donald Trump. And more than that, he's happy to do it, and we're happy to help him do it. So,
wait, I keep being told that Pete Buttigieg is the unifier, that Pete, you know, that Midwest twang.
Yeah, he unified all the billionaires on the West Coast with all the billionaires on the East Coast. It's great, right? So, I don't think so.
I actually find it a little insulting to my intelligence when somebody says, oh, it doesn't matter that I'm taking their money. We need everybody to take on Trump.
I don't think that's the case. You hear Bernie say it here himself. 99% is a whole lot bigger than 1%. We can keep donating, so I think there's a lot more power speaking to the people and embracing their needs than kowtowing to billionaires, corporate lobbyists, or, you know, people in wine caves.
Why Bernie for you? What would him being president do for your life?
He appeals to me as a student. Like, I want affordable health care and education. I think that's essential to going forward for a country, honestly.
And I don't know how old you guys are, but the planet's kind of on fire. He seems to be the only person with the the necessary investment.
Yeah, so what's great about Bernie's plan is that the ends justify the means. You really can't put a price tag on our human survival, and I'm really tired of hearing people talk about the cost of the Green New Deal, because what they don't take into account is everything we're going to lose if we don't pay for it, right? So it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
And what's been the response you've gotten knocking on doors?
So anytime I go knock on doors, for the most part, people are just excited that I'm out and engaging in the process. So I think that's the best advice I can get to anybody is, regardless of who you do support, it's important to be involved. It's important to exercise your rights. And I think it's important to have the dialogue. So keep getting out there, keep talking to people.
And why do you think Bernie would be the best candidate to go against Trump? Because all we hear about is how, you know, moderate milquetoast is how you defeat Donald Trump.
Because Bernie was the best person to beat Donald Trump 4 years ago. Bernie's the best person to beat Donald Trump now. And that's for a number of reasons. It's because everything Donald Trump says he does, Bernie actually does. So whether it's raising the minimum wage, getting people health care, you know, fixing the broken immigration system so that we have people coming here the right way, whether it's, you know, getting us out of the endless wars, he's the person that actually believes in it. So I think just communicating that to the voters is really what's going to win this election.
What's your name?
Robert Hardy.
What's your name?
Caitlin.
Thanks, man. Really nice to meet you. Thank you. So, woo! So, let me tell you, you have a lot of excited people here. And what really stands out to me is I said this in, come over here. I said this in 2017. I said this in 2016. There's millions of more people that are going to be 18 to vote. There's millions of more Latinos that are going to be 18 to vote. Millions of more African Americans that are going to be 18. Millions of more white people that are going to be 18. And I think you're starting to see a lot of them from 2016. What's your name?
John.
Todd.
No, with a J.
You know, tonight's event, what stood out to me is you have a lot of women speaking before him that honestly you haven't seen in politics in real kind of starring roles, you know, like Nina Turner has been like the backbone of the campaign, AOC recently. How important is that Bernie kind of elevates a lot of these women politicians to the forefront.
It's incredibly important. I believe that that's how he's gonna remain relevant. He needs figures like AOC and Nina Turner especially. She's remarkable.
I thought Cynthia Nixon was good too, because you wanna open the door to people who might have supported Hillary in 2016.
I thought that was very smart. She speaks to a different type of crowd, I think. So I think that was a really good idea.
For you, what attracts you to Bernie as a candidate? Because all you hear in the media is this guy's gonna it's the Titanic into an iceberg. Why are they wrong?
Bernie, I feel like he has inspired a whole generation of people. I'm proof of that. I wasn't politically active until this election cycle. Well, 2016 sort of, but more so this time. And his programs to me make the most basic sense. The universality of his programs, I think that he really is tapped into something that speaks to everyone.
It looks like the Democratic Party is about to jump ship from Joe Biden. If Pete doesn't win here, he's pretty much toast. And it looks like they're starting to rally around billionaire Mike. What are your thoughts on that?
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's horrible. I almost can't believe it, but the establishment.
Wait, you mean a billionaire who says transgender people won't play in the Midwest?
Yeah, he's horrible. I think I don't even know what would happen if
because it seems like the Democratic Party thinks it's a good idea. They changed the debate rules just so Mike Bloomberg can debate.
You know, I think that is really sad that they changed the rules specifically surrounding that. You know, they try to lie and say that wasn't what they were doing. But on the other hand, I kind of do feel like he does have to answer to some of the critiques that others have to be answering as well. So I think being on the debate stage, while it's not fair to the others, I think it'd be nice to see Bernie Klobuchar kind of smack him down a couple times.
And we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but obviously Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, Warren. Yang and Tulsi weren't expected to do much in Iowa, but they've put most of their resources here in New Hampshire. Should Bernie people kind of, depending on if Bernie wins tomorrow, welcome them in if they don't continue on in the campaign?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it makes the most sense for them to come over to this side, the non-establishment type of candidates, and I think they will. Yeah.
And lastly, for you, what's at stake? If Bernie wins, how does your life change?
To be completely honest, the student loan debt forgiveness programs would be amazing for me, my husband more specifically. Tons of student debt.
Which means you have debt.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be really, really helpful. It would help our lives very, very much. Other than that, I not Medicare for all, of course. I have a decent job with good healthcare, but for me, it's more about other people. I was knocking on doors yesterday here. What
was the response you were getting?
To be completely honest, very few doors were answered. I think people are starting to get sick of people knocking on their doors. And still people were undecided, though. Quite a few of them still undecided. Some odd ones, like one woman said Mayor Pete or Bernie, which to me was kind of like, what? How? And then another guy said Biden or Bernie, which made more sense to me. But I think it's a little bit odd to be still undecided.
What's your name again?
John.
John?
John. I follow your show.
Oh, thanks, man.
I subscribe too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, should other people subscribe too?
Of course. Yeah. Of course, yeah. You're the only show I subscribe, pay for.
Thanks, man.
Good job.
You heard that? He said sign up. StatusCout.com/join. I'm out here losing my voice for the people. We drove 4.5 hours today. I haven't eaten since God knows when. Come on. StatusCout.com/join. When we went live, we were 40 members away. We were 40 members away from 1,300. I want to get to 1,300 tonight. Jen, text me what we're at, if you don't mind. I want to get to 1,300, because then we're 200 away from 1,500. StatusCout.com/join. For $5 a month, you can fund real journalism. I don't have have money from bankers. I don't take money from fossil fuckers. I don't take money from big pharma, from big real estate, from Silicon Valley. No. What's your name?
Raven.
This was probably the largest rally any candidate has had in New Hampshire. What stood out to you?
I don't know. I think it's really clear, like the enthusiasm that's behind Senator Sanders that isn't behind any other candidate. You know, it was that way in 2016, but I think even more in 2020. You know, there are way more candidates, but this is one of the largest rallies we've ever seen from Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire. I think it's probably the biggest one. So I think that kind of speaks for itself, right? When you have 6,000 people turn up to a rally in Durham on a Monday night before the primary, that's pretty incredible.
I actually think it was more than 6,000.
Yeah, it's somewhere up there.
You know, I like that he had Cynthia Nixon, because it shows people who once kind of bought into this, yeah, these ideas are great, but they'll never win. And it kind of shows that people can evolve to realize, oh, they've been kind of fed just a slow diet of broccoli, and but it's not real. It's not real. You can have bigger things.
Absolutely, and it's the fiction that's been kind of fed to us for so long, which is that you need someone who can appeal to the center, who can appeal to the moderate voter. When that's just like, that's not a reality. Like, everyone deals with high healthcare costs, right? Everyone deals with everyone's going to have, climate change is going to affect everybody. So we need big radical solutions to those problems. Talking about how we're using divisive rhetoric, or how we're saying we have to go all the way to the edge, that's not the reality. What we're saying is we actually have to solve the problems, and we can't just say that we're gonna, like, we can't just like generally gesture towards these big policy ideas. We can't just have flowery language. We actually have to have the policy to back it up.
You know what I don't understand? Why isn't it considered radical to let people have to ration their insulin? Right. Why isn't it considered radical that 500,000 people are sleeping on the streets? Exactly. A lot of them in the cold. Right. Why isn't it radical that, like, we're fracking all around the country when it's 65 degrees in Antarctica? Right. Why are those pragmatic and not radical? Right.
It's insane. I mean, This really gave me a lot of hope tonight, just seeing the crowd, and you know, I think tomorrow we're going to go out, and I really hope that we see Senator Sanders put down a big margin. Like, if he wins this state by 10 to 15 points, that just sends a huge message to the rest of the country. It's different this time. We're not going to lose. We have more strength than Super Tuesday states. We have strength throughout the entire country. We're going to win California. We're going to get those big delegate-rich states, and we're going to take it to the White House. I mean, if people aren't ready for radical solutions, then they better get ready.
Last question. What about the DNC and their fuckery? We just saw what happened in Iowa. You're saying they're not going to beat us, but they're not being subtle. Yeah. I mean, the mafia is more subtle than the DNC.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Bernie Sanders wins the popular vote by 6,000 votes, and somehow 2 more pledged delegates are going to Buttigieg. It's kind of democracy, right? It's like, we got so mad that Donald Trump won off of the Electoral College, but now we're like, oh no, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Popular vote doesn't matter. They're going to try a lot of things, I think, but I honestly, like, I really believe, and I have to believe, because I would be crushed if I didn't believe, that it's not going to work. I think Bernie Sanders has enough strength, you know, just to push through. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of 2016. Like, I don't like comparing Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders because they're not similar at all in any policy distinction. But, you know, Donald Trump won 30% of the vote pretty much in every single state. He just kept rolling, and the establishment couldn't stop him. And, I mean, we saw it tonight. I don't think anyone's stopping Bernie Sanders.
What's your name?
Raven.
Hey, thanks, Raven. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So, people are excited. People are very, very excited. It definitely has kind of a 2016 feeling, but much bigger. The biggest rally I remember coving of Bernie Sanders in 2016 was Washington Square Park in New York City, which I think had 27,000 people. I don't think it was 27,000 people here, but I think it was a lot. I'd be surprised if it wasn't 10,000 people here. So there you go. So let's get some comments in. By the way, I love that guy who was like, there was marijuana down there. It's like, who gives a shit? It's great. Come on live? Go ahead. Go ahead. So, how we doing? Do we have... We're at 1,265 members. 1,265 members. So that would be 35 members away. 35 members away from 1,300. If you're not a member yet, do it. Do it for the Strokes. Statuscoup.com says join. Sign up for as low as $5 a month. Hey. Oh. Don't want to come on. So, I want to talk about it before we talk to somebody else. The Quinnipiac poll today was very, very good for Bernie. Quinnipiac has been his worst poll. He has usually not done so great in the Quinnipiac poll because they tend to oversample older voters and undersample younger voters. But he was at 25%. The next person was Joe Biden at 17%. Biden lost 9 points since Iowa. And if you watch Joe Biden going around New Hampshire, it's like watching a very slow-moving funeral procession. I'm not wishing him death, but politically speaking, it just looks like this record stuck on 1985. Joe Biden's not looking like he's going to do so hot here. And why that's important, Pete Buttigieg doesn't win New Hampshire. Come on live. What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
Shaquan.
Huge rally, a lot of energy. What stood out to you? What was your favorite moment of the Bernie rally?
Wait, can you repeat that?
What was your favorite moment of the Bernie rally?
When he talked about the free education, obviously. As I am a college student who's going to have to pay debt eventually.
What's that?
Well, I was going to say, wait, can you repeat what you said?
What stood out to you as one of the bigger moments from the rally? There was a lot of speakers.
I really liked what Miss Turner said. I felt like she really was able to work the crowd and said a lot that I personally agreed with. Yeah, which was...
She's like a preacher. she energized the crowd. What about Bernie inspires you or attracts you to want to support him?
Well, first, as a college student, getting rid of college debt is one of the first things, but I also like his how he follows the Green New Deal, his policy on race and jails, because like I have some relatives who are in jail for no reason, which really speaks to me. So those are like a couple of the things.
And it's interesting because I went to a Pete Buttigieg rally yesterday. I spoke with his supporters. Not one of them mentioned a policy, and you just mentioned 3. So it seems like there's a real difference between Bernie supporters and the people I spoke with that are supporting Pete.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been getting emails and notifications about like all the different politics. Like I've been getting ads about them, but Bernie's the only one where I really hear policies about what he's planning on doing. So that's why I'm gonna probably vote for him in the primaries tomorrow.
What's your name?
Shaquan.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. So, hold on. Woo! All right. Let's keep the party going. Hold on. Stewart is a hero. Welcome new member Elijah. Just got a new member Elijah. Welcome to the media revolution. That is, I think, 1,266. So 34 members away. 34 members away. Maybe I'll storm the concert and get the Strokes on so we can ask them what they think. Keep it coming. My brother just called me, so maybe he wants to congratulate me. If you came late to the live stream, Fox News of all media outlets reported on basically Jamal being assaulted by the Buttigieg campaign, me being harassed. Fox News wrote about it, and honestly, it was a pretty fair article. I read it real quickly because I was here working. It was a pretty fair article, and they pointed out that we did very standard interviews with Buttigieg supporters. I don't think I was disrespectful at all. Honestly, by my standards, I was kind of tame. I didn't really push back that much because I was just trying not to rock the boat, you know? So go check out that article, share it, because whether the Buttigieg campaign or any political campaign likes a media outlet or doesn't like a media outlet, you don't have the right to be like hovering over journalists' shoulders as they're doing interviews. You don't have the right to come up to me and say, did you sneak in? You certainly don't have the right to go up to my cameraman, who happened to be probably the only black person there, and not even say a word, to yank his press credential off, and then come up to me and say, we heard reports of you being disruptive. From who? The imaginary neoliberal in your mind? We weren't being disruptive. The most tense moment we had with a Buttigieg supporter was her saying, yeah, I've heard from a lot of I've heard from a lot of South Bend people that he's great. And I said, oh, did you hear from any African Americans? So disruptive, let me tell you. Hey, come on over here. Oh, you can't come on. Okay, that's a Bernie worker. They can't speak to the media. That's okay. So let me tell you why I need you to sign up. I'm not beyond begging. We just booked our flight to Nevada, so we will be covering the caucus. I actually had a source call me today. I can't verify it. I've had no time. All I've been doing is driving and covering rallies. But I did have a source tell me today that they're not going to use the Shadow app in Nevada, but they're talking about using a digital tool in Nevada. So Jen, I spoke with Jen earlier. We need to look into what this digital tool is, because frankly, at this point, I don't want the Democratic Party, the Nevada State Party using any digital tools. I want you to do what you've always done. Have a caucus, write down the results, and call it in. Don't reinvent the wheel as Bernie Sanders is winning. So, we will have more information on that. My younger brother Jared just texted me, and he said, you look cute on air. I'm watching. Want to say hi? That's fine. So, how many people we got? All right, 1,600. Hey, Jared, my younger brother, if you're watching, where is your super chat, Jared? By the way, I'm wearing my brother's shirt because I didn't have time to go home and get a shirt, so I borrowed his. Isn't that interesting? So, a lot of thumbs up. All right, we got 10 minutes before our battery dies, so let's make it memorable. 10 minutes before our battery dies. Hey, by the way, if anybody in this arena is watching right now and has a bottle of water, that would be lovely. If anybody in this arena is watching and has a bottle of water, bring it up. I'd be very grateful. Want to come over? Okay, that's fine. So, by the way, I got to tell you something. If I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, which I personally am, but I'm just speaking about his movement, I think he's up in the polls. I think he's going to win, but I don't know if he's going to win. The media has really propped up Pete Buttigieg big time. The media has really given him, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in free advertising this week, claiming he was the winner of the Iowa caucus when there were no results. So, I think Bernie people are going to be knocking on those doors till the last minute tomorrow. I think Bernie people are acting like they're 10 points down. And that's smart. That's smart. Because polls can say something, but when a candidate has that corporate media propaganda machine behind them, that's a powerful thing too. But I do think Bernie's going to win, and I'll tell you why. You don't see this at other rallies. You just don't. Yeah, of course people came for the band too. But most people here are here because of Bernie, AOC, those kind of things. Come on board? Wow, a lot of shy people towards the end. Very interesting. Hey, come on over. Right here. What'd you think? This was one of the biggest rallies I've been to at a Bernie rally in a long time. What stood out to you from the speakers?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, he doesn't know. Oh, he's probably high, maybe. Could be. I wouldn't mind a little medicine, to tell you the truth. All right, let's see. Here we go. Voting for Bernie in Nashua tomorrow, they say. We're at 1,269 members. 31 members away. 31 members away. What's up, buddy? What's your name?
Robert.
Big rally. A lot of energy tonight.
Spiritually exhausting. That's how I can, you start with Nina Turner, okay? She sermonizes you. She slays. Every syllable. Flawless. Packed with meaning, Cynthia Nixon. Mirandized us. Cornel West.
Cornel West, my favorite of all time.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Okay? And he was the shortest one, but he packed so much meaning into it, and he's so animated, and he just gets it, keeps it going. AOC, real talk out of AOC, And Bernie, it was like he was up there forever. His voice didn't crackle. And, if this was the stuff they showed on cable TV, Bernie would be like at 72% right now.
The power of propaganda.
Yeah, the danger of propaganda.
It's really interesting to me. He's putting women at the forefront. Nina, Cynthia Nixon, who I thought was great. Hey, we welcome Hillary Clinton supporters. Why not? We need to have as many people as possible.
Sure.
And I think what she said was true. People like Cynthia Nixon have been fed this steady diet of Bernie's great, I love his ideas, but, let's get serious.
Yeah.
And I think they're starting to realize that, no, this could happen. You could have these things.
Also, don't worry about what some vaguely hypothetical person out in some state that nobody ever talks about is going to do. Worry about what you're going to do. And then they're going to benefit in the end. We're all going to benefit in the end, And you're right, the biggest pop of the night was for when he said that women are going to have control of their own bodies. The government is not going to decide. The biggest pop of the night. The place went crazy. So,
talk about you. What's at stake for you if Bernie were to win the nomination, possibly win the presidency?
I mean, what's at stake personally?
If he wins the nomination, if he becomes president, what's at stake for you?
Well, I mean, I can look forward to certain things like maybe not going bankrupt if I get cancer, knock on wood. Of course, everybody's going to benefit, but it's not about me, it's about the people that are in a worse situation than me or you, or anybody that has a car that can come to an event like this. I've driven here, I drove up from Connecticut, I'm going to drive down to South Carolina next week. I'm able to do that. Not everybody is, so I'm doing it for them as well as for me. And that's what this is all about. That's why there's 7,000 people here tonight,
Bernie talked a lot about Trump. Why do you think Bernie is the best person to take on Trump, who, if you saw the State of the Union, it's like a dystopian nightmare, this guy. Why is Bernie the best to take on Trump?
Because he's sincere, everything that he says, he does have his talking points, he does have the things that he keeps on saying, but those are important things, and those also are the things he's been saying for his whole career. Those ring true for him. But he also can talk like a person. We saw it tonight, we see it every time he's in front of a microphone or in front of a camera. He can talk like a person, And people, you contrast Trump over here, Bernie over here, people are going to be able to see that. Even Republicans. We were at some guy's house last night. He voted Trump in 2016, and after 20 minutes of talking to us, we converted him to Bernie Sanders. It can happen.
What's your name?
My name's Robert.
We got 5 minutes left of battery, so let's do this, baby. We're at 1,271 people. 1,271 members. 1,271 members. So we got 29 members to go. 29 members to go till we hit 1,300. If you haven't signed up today, let me tell you why you should sign up. I think that, forget Bernie Sanders for a second. I know a lot of you, or most of you support Bernie. But to me, why you need reporters on the ground, like not stenographers, not corporate, regurgitators, not propagandists, not ladder climbers who are just trying to, move up to a new CNN gig and make a lot of money. Why you need in the trenches, independent media in the field is because I'm showing you the brainwashing of most Americans is very, very widespread. Most people, who are mostly good people, are brainwashed by the steady diet of gradualism, incrementalism, and eat your fucking broccoli and take your crumbs. That's what they get from CNN. That's what they get from outlets like the New York Times. And that's why, and that's generational. Those people that are brainwashed teach their kids that. Why I think it's important that we have in-the-field media, by the way, all of these trips, it's costing us thousands of dollars at a time. Just flying to Nevada is costing us a lot of money. Hotels costing us a lot of money. Food, equipment, we need to get a new camera. The reason Jamal keeps autofocusing and you guys are like, why is he doing that? It's because we need a better camera. That's why. So, it costs money. So, all I'm asking, if you can't sign up, if you can't contribute $5, that's okay. We don't want to make your situation worse if you don't have $5 to $10 a month. Just share, press the like button, join our email list, statuscoup.com. But if you can sign up, we try to make it as low as possible, $5 a month, $10 a month. And to the people who say, stop asking for money, go fuck yourself. I don't have any tolerance for you, okay? If you'd rather me do behind closed doors meetings with hedge fund people, if you'd rather me do behind closed doors meetings with like George Soros and the plutocrats funding the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, I could do that. I'd rather just ask you. How about that? So if you don't like journalists that ask their viewers to fund the actual reporting, then what can I tell you? But if you're willing to support us, I'm willing to go as far as the lengths of this country, eventually the world, because we do want to do some international reporting. We're going to have to hire other people because I ain't no spring chicken anymore. I'm 33 and I can't go, at this pace for the rest of my career. But we do want to hire new reporters. We definitely need to hire more support staff. Jen is working the job of 17 people at the moment. I'm working the job of 17 people at the moment. Jamal is doing way more than one cameraman audio does. When you guys, by the way, were like, what's going on? Is Jamal drunk? Why is the camera moving? It's because we literally moved from the bottom of the arena to the top of the arena in like 45 seconds. So that's why the camera was rocking and moving. So anyway, I don't know how long we got, like 3 minutes? Oh, we got 4 minutes left? Wonderful. So that's it. Sign up. Tomorrow's the primary. During the day, I'm probably going to monitor if there's any fuckery, because we know what just happened in Iowa. A lot of fuckery. I am already hearing, I think I told you, Nevada. They say they're not using an app, but using a digital tool. I want to look into that, because I think we've had enough with digital tools that the Democratic Party is in charge of. I don't want any digital tools used. How about this? Just count the votes at the caucus, call it in like the good old days, and that be that. We don't need no digital tools being presided over by the Democratic Party, okay? No thanks. So a lot of people coming out here. By the way, the Strokes, how about it? I hope they play at my wedding. That was fantastic. So the last thing I'll say, definitely tomorrow, if you're not on our email list, if you're not on our text list, you got to get on, all of you watching. Statuscoup.com, enter your email. We will not spam you 25 times a day. We're just going to email you when we're going live. We're going to email you. By the way, we're getting picked up in the media. My interview with Michael Moore was on Real Clear Politics. That was pretty cool. Hey, you saw that. Wonderful. There you go. So my interview with Michael Moore was picked up. Fox News, of all places. It's really crazy. You have to resort to the right wing to tell the truth sometimes. So Fox News covered the fact that Pete Buttigieg's campaign harassed me. Pete Buttigieg's camp ripped my cameraman's press badge off for no reason. So go check that out. It's up on my Twitter right now. I thought the article was pretty fair, to be honest. Buttigieg campaign, all I asked was for them to apologize to Jamal. They haven't responded. By the way, Jamal happened to be the only black person I saw at Pete Buttigieg's rally. So what are you going to do? So that's it. I think our battery's about to die. Thank you for watching. There you go. We'll be live tomorrow night from the Bernie event. I don't know what we're doing during the day tomorrow. I definitely need to drink some water, probably sleep till 10 a.m. because I'm running on empty. Maybe some beer.